Welcome to the Safety Evolution Investigation System. Safety Evolution provides you with a guided and easy-to-use investigation system that starts by collecting event data from the field, notifying the team, and providing you with the tools to complete your industry-leading investigation. The investigation system is broken out into three main parts. The first part is reporting a new incident. The second part is the assessment assignment and early notification. The third part is the actual incident investigation. Once those are completed, the investigation is ready for management review. So first, let's talk about the new incident report. Go to the New Incident Report button. This is how you're going to start reporting an event to your team. Start by selecting your site, your location, and the date the event occurred. You can backdate this if you need to, or you can select the time and date for right now. The system is set up to ask you questions that are easy yes or no questions. It will set up the rest of the form to gather the information that the investigation team will need. Next, answer each of the following questions. Was anyone injured? This could be anyone on your team or a member of the public that was involved in the event. Could someone have been injured? This could be anyone on your team or a member of the public that was involved in the event. Was anything damaged? This could include vehicles, property, theft, or other company or public assets. Could something potentially have been damaged? This could include vehicles, property, theft, or other company or public assets. Was there any damage to the environment? This includes damage to the environment and fluid loss. Some examples could be a hydraulic hose breaks and spills, fluid on the ground, or maybe there is damage to a piece of equipment and the oil or fluids drained on the ground and need to be cleaned up. Could there have been damage to the environment? If there was a possibility of environmental damage, then select Yes here. Did you witness the incident? If you witnessed the event or you are gathering information and reporting an event, then you could select this, as well as if you actually saw it happen. Were there any witnesses? Select Yes here if there were witnesses. It will also allow you to add witness statements later in the process. Was the work permitted? Sometimes work is permitted, and if you are on a job that has a work permit, be sure to check Yes. Was weather a factor? Sometimes rain, snow, or other weather events can have an effect on the job and cause or factor into an investigation. Was the scene changed after the incident? Let the team know if the scene has been changed. When they see pictures of the event, they are able to understand if anything was changed or moved. The next step is to click the Save button on your report. The form will then expand to allow you to add more details. Our form is now expanded out to collect more detail. Injured parties. Was anyone injured? You can select to add an employee or add a third party. Similar to potential injuries. You can select to add an employee or add a third party as well. For example, let's add an employee. Select the worker's name, specify the injury or injuries, select where it was on the body, and what type of injury it was. Add images of the injury. You'll also have the opportunity to add notes. Make sure to reply, did the worker return to work? If not, make sure you select No. Once you do that, you can hit Save. And the injured party will be added to your form. Third party is a little different. It allows you to put the first name, last name, phone number, email, and company employer information. The rest of the form is the same. Let's take a glance at potential injuries. It is going to be the exact same, but the only difference is instead of actually selecting where the injuries are, these are going to be text fields to input the information. Damages. Was anything damaged? Potential damage. Could something have potentially been damaged? Let's click Report Damage. This is going to allow you to describe the damage in the notes. Upload images of the damage. Take notes on the cause of damages. There are multiple places where you can add information. If you click Yes on the motor vehicle piece, it's going to ask you for registration insurance images. Once that's completed, hit Save and that will add to the report. Environmental damage. Was there any damage to the environment? Let's click Report Environmental Damage. Describe the environmental damage in the notes. You can use this if you have a spill like oil or hydraulic or anything like that on the ground. Upload images of the environmental damage. If it's a product release, click Yes. It's going to ask you for a product description. Images of the release, product quantity, and was all the product cleaned up. If you say yes, then it's gonna allow you to do that. Select No as well so that you can tell your supervisors in case you didn't get it all cleaned up. For the potential environmental damage, it's very similar, just add in the information about what could have happened and then images. Then yes or no on, could the product have been released? If it's yes, it's going to ask you what could have been released, ask for more pictures and then ask you how much product could have been released. First-hand account, did you witness the incident? This is going to be a summary of a witness statement. You can actually use this if you're the person that is recording the details, maybe you weren't there, but you're the one that has to do the data entry. That's a great place to do that. It's gonna ask you questions, like, what were you doing at the time? If you weren't there, you can answer the next question. Were you directly involved in the event? Where did it happen? How many people were present? What happened first? When did this happen? What was involved? Equipment, weather, all that good information. Describe the events that lead up to the incident. What happened after the incident? What caused the event to happen? What could have been done to stop the event from happening? Attach images to this form. Take pictures of the whole scene, detailed pictures of each angle north, south, east, west. Pictures of the damage starting from far out, and then moving in. It's important to get lots of pictures here, because this is your way of capturing the actual incident. Witnesses, were there any witnesses? Add employee witness statement. Record the incident witness details and statement. Remember, if you are using a mobile device, you can use speech-to-text to capture these details. Add their statement and then go through the questions. This form's a little different because once they sign it and save it, it is locked and kept. So their witness statement is protected. You can also do a third party, and this is going to grab a first name, last name, phone number, email address, and company name. And then again, all the witness statement information will lock in after signature. Permit attachments, was the work permitted? If it was permitted work, you can attach a picture of the permit here. Scene not frozen, scene altered. If the scene was not frozen or was altered, use the text fields to explain what happened and explain why the scene was changed. We have now reached the end of the incident report. Welcome to the assessment tool in the Safety Evolution Investigation System. What is an assessment? The assessment is the stage between when an event has been reported and when you determine whether you want to move it to the investigation stage. Now that the incident report has been finalized and handed in, an email notification has gone out to the HSE supervisors of the site the report was filled out at. This workflow is part of your company settings, sites, and supervisors. The HSE supervisor of the site will now see they have an active incident report that is pending assessment. Let's jump in and look at the three main aspects of the assessment tool by clicking on the ID link. The first step is to review the incident report form. Then, using that information, you can determine whether it's an incident and decide if you will perform an investigation. We are going to move this into an investigation by clicking Review and Assign. We are on step 2 now. Use the text field to add your investigation title and description. From the drop-down list, assign it to the investigator with a due date. And click Save. Now on to step 3. The moment you assign it out by hitting Save, the system will activate the Incident Early Notification System and send an email notification to your list with the incident description, where and when it happened, and who the investigator will be. This is a setting in your company settings, General tab. When we're busy and we're stressed out, making sure we get everybody's name on an email and letting them know that an event has happened can be challenging. The safety evolution system sets it up so that the people that need to know are immediately informed. As we move back to the main investigation area, if the incident report is not moving into a full investigation, you can simply click the trash icon and it will be archived in the View All section with the status of discarded. That is the assessment system. The next training is the investigation system. From the main page of the investigation area, we are now going to scroll down to active investigations and move into the investigation system. You have two options here. You can click the ID number throughout this investigation to see a summary and change log. This can be shared via private shareable link. A PDF can also be saved from this area. You can also click Update the investigation. Similarly, if we are back in the active investigation list, we can click Edit and jump right in to start using the investigation system. Within the investigation system, you have 6 tabs along the top. General, Incident Report, Classification, Causal Factors, Documents, Action Items, and Change Log. Let's start with the General tab. From here, you can see who the investigation has been assigned to. Cancel the investigation by explaining the reason for canceling this investigation. There will be yellow highlighted areas. This is the system telling you that these items need to be done before next steps. As we look at General Info, we have our incident date and time. This can be adjusted if the information was incorrect. The site and location, who it was reported by, along with the date it was reported on, along with who assessed the incident report and moved it to an investigation. Looking at investigation details, you can update the title or description of the event. Contact type can be updated at this time with the pre-built list below to select from. You can always select those later in your investigation. You may need to come back to them and change or add to them. You can also do your potential risk and actual risk. Potential risk is going to be how bad it could have been, versus the actual risk would be what actually happened. Here is an example. If you're doing a near-miss investigation, the potential risk would be quite high and the actual risk was low because nothing happened. You could also use this in an incident because, in an incident, you could have the actual risk be high because you could have someone injured or you could have lost time or fatality, but the potential risk could have been significantly higher as well. That is the general page. You may come back and update this at any time in the investigation. Changes will be reflected in the change log. As you do more and more of your investigation, you may want to put a timeline in, add investigation details and conclusions. The more details you add here the better, as this is the information that will show in your investigation report summary that you can share with your team and clients. Let's move on to the Incident Report tab. This is where we are going to go through and see all the information that the person filling out the incident report added in. You will see everything from the injuries, witness statements, environmental damage, pictures, and more. The next area of the investigation is the Classification tab. You have the ability in the investigation system to do primary and secondary classifications. Primary classifications can be incidents or near misses. If you select an incident, you can then have a secondary classification. If you do a near miss, it isn't multiple, it's just a single classification. The reason why is that if you had a minor incident with a high potential near miss, you may want to add a secondary classification to it. You can then select what type of incident happened or near miss. These include environmental, fire, motor vehicle, quality, equipment damage, illness, property damage, regulatory violation, equipment failure, injury, security, other. Each one of the tabs as you click on them will open up. For injuries classified as first aid, medical aid, modified duties, lost times, and fatalities, you will see an update coming on this in the near future to also have the equivalent naming convention added for OSHA. Illness will allow you to select heat, cold, noise, vibrations, light, radiation, repetitive motion, chemical and biological. Another example is fire. It will give you a description, estimated cost, and actual cost. Security details captures description, estimated cost, and actual costs. Property damage will document description, estimated cost, and actual cost. The motor vehicle will allow you to capture the make, model, year, unit number, estimated damage, and actual damage. Equipment failure make, model, year, unit number, estimated damage, and actual damage. If you click on environmental, for example, you can add the products in the text field. You can add multiple products just with the green plus sign button on the right, giving you the ability to track the details that you want. Regulatory options are set up to allow you to select multiple options if required and include essential rules, seat belt, logbook, disciplinary sanction, speeding, court appearance, minor equipment violation, moving equipment, failure to produce documents, client, alcohol or drugs, parking, load securement, smoking, dangerous goods, invalid driver's license, cell phone, GPS speeding. The final one is other. Other is a catch-all for any other type of event that you might have at your workplace. The causal factor system was created by the founders of Safety Evolution to provide safety professionals and investigators with a comprehensive list of contributing and root causal factors to choose from in their investigation. When creating this list, we looked in the beginning at root cause only, and we found that there just wasn't enough depth in the investigation. We wanted to be able to ensure that all aspects of the event were captured. To do this, we added contributing factors. Contributing causal factors are anything that actually could contribute to the event happening, but wasn't the root cause. When we do root cause analysis, what we're really looking at is, we're digging down layer upon layer until we can find the systematic breakdown in our safety program and then we can fix it. Anybody that's familiar with the Swiss cheese model knows that what we are really trying to do is create barriers in the system so that our workers are protected from events happening. A really great way to do an investigation is to actually just open all these up and go through and just select every factor that is applicable for your investigation. The little question mark will give you a little bit of a helper text for more information. Let's look at task is not understood. When we look at the helper text, it says the task was not understood by the worker. When we think about the event we are investigating, you can ask yourself, did the worker or workers understand this task? Yes, they did. Okay, perfect. We can move to the next factor in the list. The steps not communicated. Yes, they were trained on it. Details not communicated. They were communicated. They knew as they had their job package. Hazards not understood. Well, they did actually overlook the hazard of the tasks, which would tell you that you should select this. Keep moving through contributing factors, selecting all that apply. Then once you have all your contributing factors you can go ahead and ask, why did they miss that hazard? Open all the categories of the root cause factors. Move through each of that categories until you find the 1 to 3 root causal factors that are right for your investigation. Once you've found that in your system, then you want to be able to go in and create an action item, which we will do coming up. Before we move to action items, let's look at the Document tab. The Document tab is really powerful because it allows you to actually go in and search all of the existing forms in the system so that you can add them into your investigation. You can select all documents or look for specific types. You can narrow it down to a specific site and elect a date range. Select Find Documents and the system will bring up documents pertaining to that search criteria. The little stars beside them are relevant. If there are 3 stars, then the investigation system has found a document with all 3 search criteria of people, site and date. 1 star means that one of these aspects was associated with the investigation. You can just attach the ones that you want by selecting Attach. You now have those as reference documents for your investigation. The final piece is the external documents. In the external documents, you can upload pictures, files, and anything else you may have collected that wasn't in the initial incident report or within the system. This is going to be your incident file repository. Action items are the final piece to completing your investigation. You can see your contributing and root cause factors show up here in their little checkbox down below the date. Once we've determined what the actual root cause was of the event or contributing, you can then create a corrective action or multiple action items. Now you create your title, add your description, assign it out to who's going to be working on this action item, set a due date, and your action item will be created. You'll be able to run this through the action item workflow. It will give you all the data that you need to be able to make sure that the action items created off of an investigation are meaningful and that you're tracking them through to completion. Monitor the status of the action items here, or within the summary that we looked at earlier from the main investigation area. Action items are the final piece to completing your investigation. You can see your contributing and root cause factors show up here in their little checkbox down below the date. Once we've determined what the actual root cause was of the event or contributing, you can then create a corrective action or multiple action items. Now you create your title, add your description, assign it out to who's going to be working on this action item, set a due date, and your action item will be created. You'll be able to run this through the action item workflow. It will give you all the data that you need to be able to make sure that the action items created off of an investigation are meaningful and that you're tracking them through to completion. Monitor the status of the action items here, or within the summary that we looked at earlier from the main investigation area. Time to look at the change log. In the change log, you're going to be able to see everything that has been updated. What was updated and who did it. This is very important for you to be able to make sure that everything is auditable and meets compliance standards. You have now completed the investigation. Before the investigation can be moved to a status of completed, you need to have a reviewer. Within the General tab, you can now assign the investigation to the senior manager or yourself if that is you for review. Comments can be added, it can be closed, or they can revert it back to the investigator for further investigation. That is the complete Safety Evolution investigation system. All your incident reports and investigations will be found in the View All area. Search filters for incident reports and investigations are available that will sort the table below. That is the complete Safety Evolution investigation system. Thank you for joining the Safety Evolutions investigation training. The best part about it, all of your incident information is captured and displayed in your analytics dashboard. Join us for analytics training to see what you can do with this powerful data.